Welcome to the Jimmy Warren Show. It's time for another hour of incredible conversations with the biggest names in music. Now here's your host, Jimmy Warren.
Well, all right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Jimmy Warren Show as we continue Hard Rock and Heavy Metal Month right here. Last Tuesday, we kicked it off with Eddie Trunk, the host of that metal show on VH1 Classics, and one of my favorite guitar players, Joel Hoekstra. That's right, Joel Hoekstra, the lead guitarist for Whitesnake and the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, both bands everybody loves. You know, Joel's a monster. I mean, a friggin' monster. So we're going to continue that series tonight, and we have Steve Blaze from Lillian Axe, the founder and lead guitarist for Lillian Axe, is going to be with us tonight talking about their new project called One Night in the Temple. It's an acoustic project that they did for fans, which I think is rather unique, and it's 2 CD, 1 DVD. It's a 2.5 hour long DVD. It's really good, and if you're a Lillian Axe fan, well, you're going to enjoy the program tonight. Now, before we get into the conversation with Steve and the music off their new project, I think I need to bring some clarification to a couple of things. One is that I get asked all the time, Jimmy, man, you know, why do you have, you know, blues and heavy metal and, you know, all different kinds of music? Why don't you stick to a specific format like everybody else does? Well, I can answer that question. Is the reason that I have the diversity that I do is because I'm a fan of the people that I have on. Now, I enjoy all kinds of music. I always have. And if I'm a fan of your music, if I enjoy what I'm hearing, doesn't matter if you're unknown or if you're a superstar, I'm going to do all I can through my show to help promote it. That's the purpose of the Jimmy Warren Show. It isn't so that I make big bucks. It isn't so I can talk about my politics. It isn't so that, you know, I can get on here and talk about my own career. It's so that we can promote your music and the music that I'm a fan of. And so it's all about the artist. It's not about anything else, and it's all about their music, you know. And so in case you didn't know, last Tuesday I personally released a new CD, an EP that was my 5th one, but you didn't hear me talk about it. You know, I didn't play my music in that, and I'm not sharing that, you know, out of ego or anything like that. I'm just sharing it because this show is really dedicated to the artists and the musicians that I respect and that I'm a fan of. So all the people that you're hearing are people that I enjoy and the people that I really want to help support and promote. And so that line crosses so many other lines. So when you tune in and you start hearing me talking crap about my own career, you know, boasting about my own career and my own political views and my own opinions about this and that, well, then that's the day you should probably tune out. Okay. But right now, you know what? We want to get right to it. This is Lillian Axe, One Night at the Temple off that CD. This is called Crucified. And when we come back, I'll be with Steve Blaze of Lillian Axe.
Anybody got the Psycho Schizophrenia album out there? Nice shirt. There you got the tour shirt. Stand up, show off the tour shirt. Look at that. That's old school. Psycho's on tour. A lot of people regard that in Love and War as, you know, and now the new record as our best records. But that one was really a special album for me because I kind of came into my own as a writer. When I started writing that song, it was right after Poetic Justice. We had good success. And so I thought the label was going to pretty much climb down my back and want another True Believer hit and all that kind of stuff. So, but they didn't. They just let me do what I wanted to do. And they bought me a home studio. And I took my time. But something happened, and the whole time I wrote that record, I just felt like I had an epiphany, you know, and everything just started to change. And I really, a lot of songs that I think are some of the best ones I ever wrote came off that record. So this is the first song. This is called Crucified.
Little closer with your thoughts of an insurrection. A little black mark in the book of your life could bring a change of your infection.
A true test of a song is if you can take something heavy like that and make it sound good acoustically, right?
All right. Before we get into the interview with Steve Blaze, I just want to let you know that you can join me on Twitter, the Jimmy Warren Show on Twitter tonight, #Axe, and let's talk about Steve Blaze and Lillian Axe.
So the new CD is an acoustic CD called One Night in the Temple, right?
Yes, it's a double live acoustic CD, and actually the crux of the project was the DVD. We threw the CD in there just as kind of a bonus. So the DVD is a 2.5-hour documentary, which is the show itself, and in between the songs, we have backstage footage, interviews, footage of the rehearsals and the setup for the event, because the event was a 6-hour event where we had a contest, and 60 contest winners from around the country who won the contest got to come in and be a part. It was about 100 people all together. We catered the event. We did a 1-hour question and answer, then we did 2 1-hour sets, and meet and greet after. So we got to make this like a big kind of a homecoming kind of, when you have your family cookouts or whatever with 100 and some people. And we had full production. We had the entire band played. We had acoustic drums, bass, acoustic guitars, singing. We did the whole thing, and we did 20 songs. We brought in a guest violinist. We brought in a guest singer. We had the crowd sing one song by themselves. We brought in guests that I had written songs about that were related to certain people. So it was a storyteller type thing. I talked between the songs about little anecdotes about the song, what they were about, the recording, what they meant to us. And it was just an amazing event, and it went off without a hitch, which was fantastic. And the Pelican Broadcast, the company that did the filming and the editing, they just really were able to capture that night. I didn't, sometimes you have these moments and events that are fantastic and very emotional and spiritual, but it's hard to capture them, whether on CD or on video. And we did both. I was just pleasantly surprised that it came out just a true representation of the whole thing.
Yeah. So it had to be difficult to put that all together, though.
It was months of pre-production, so to speak, not just in the working out of the band, because we always do acoustic type things. So we're a little bit prone to knowing how to do that and make it work correctly, even playing our heavier songs acoustically. We know which ones work and which ones don't. But the details, such as enough chairs, the catering, the parking, having people, ushers, the timing, the rehearsal, making sure the PA was right, monitors were correct, lighting. We had 7 cameras, room backstage to be prepared, getting a host for the show. All those little details, really, and then and monitoring the whole contest. And we had hundreds of entries, and the contest winners. The contest, if you joined, you had to bring pictures to us about all your Lillian Axe swag and collectibles. So whoever had the most impressive or rare or most amounts of swag and related items won the contest. So people were sending, hundreds of pieces of everything from ticket stubs to pictures from magazines to albums to covers of rarities. And we had to pick 60. We didn't have enough room. And then we did it inside the studio where we recorded the last 3 records, which was a Masonic temple. So big, giant, wide open room, huge ceilings, probably I would want to say 25-foot, 30-foot ceilings in the place. Just a great environment for it. But all the details, it was like if one small thing went wrong, you had to have a backup, and if it went wrong, it could have put a monkey wrench in the whole night. But we were blessed, and it went off without a hitch.
Wow. So your fans just had to be, they had to kind of be in awe of this. You know what I mean? You get the opportunity to be chosen out of, so many people around the country to come. How appreciative were they, or what do you feel the experience for them was? What they walk away from it with?
Well, the good part about it is every one of them is on the DVD, so they all have FaceTime. They're, we did Nobody Knows, one version where Brian, our singer, sang kind of a duet version with Johnny Vines, who was the original Lillian Axe singer back when we first started the band before we got signed. They did a duet, and then we did a version of it where the crowd sang every word by themselves. We did not coax them or help them, no cheat sheets. They were told before the show, learn the lyrics from the beginning to end because you're singing this by yourself. So they got to be a part of that. I mean, I literally had the first row of fans 6 feet away from me at best. So they were right there. And it was not surprising to look out and just see tears in people's eyes, laughter, smiles. It was a spiritual, at the risk of sounding cheesy and cliche, it was a very spiritual moment. Now, I wrote a song called Bow Your Head about a little boy from Ponchatoula, Louisiana, who passed away from a rare disease. The acronym is EB, but it's a skin disease, and he was born with it. And his story reached national attention. And when I heard about it, I wrote a song about the little boy and wound up getting to have a relationship with his family. They found out about the song. They contacted me, thanked me. We invited them, and the little boy's mother and her mother and a couple of other family members were there. He was only a few months maybe younger than my son, so I really related to that. And I wrote the song not only to celebrate his life, but for just sick children in general and their plights and the plights of their families. And they were there, and we had a couch set up on the side of the stage for them. So when we played the song and I talked about it, I mean, everybody in the crowd was bawling, and it was beautiful but melancholy at the same time. But it was a celebration of the little boy's life. So those kind of moments are captured, and that's what really made the whole thing special, was those 100 people right in front of us.
Well, we can't pass up the opportunity. So here it is by Lillian Axe. This is Bow Your Head.
All right, now this next song, guys, this is really a very important song to me and to the guys in the band. And let me tune so I can get this right. I want to say hello to a new friend of mine in the bands, Miss Courtney Roth. Say hi to her. Say hi. I have my cheat sheet, so I say this right. All right, guys. This is really an important song. Courtney had a little boy named Trip Roth. I don't know if you guys heard about him or not. He was born with an affliction called epidermolysis. I went to pre-med for a year, too. You think I get that? Epidermolysis bullosa. And he was 2 weeks older than my son, Jude. And this girl and Trip, they touched the hearts of people worldwide. He passed away. It was January, right? I wrote it down so I get it right. January 14th. He was 2 years and 8 months, I believe. And when I heard the story and read about it, it was all over the place. People took this little boy. He was so cool. I mean, you see him playing drums and stuff. And this lady and her family just took care of that little boy up until the day he passed away. And it was like amazing what they did. And, having a 3-year-old, it really got to me. And all of us that have kids, it's really an emotional thing. And I told her I wasn't going to get up. I said, don't cry, but I'm the one that's going to cry. But anyway, I wrote this song for him. This is a celebration song, okay? This song is on the new record. It's called Bow Your Head. We're doing a video for this, which we're going to have footage of Trip that she was gracious enough to give us to put in this video, and it's going to be amazing. But people all over, this thing got national coverage. This boy is not only just an inspiration to parents and families, but to see what they did to take care of him and the things he went through, and he had a great life. And he's up there watching right now, and I'm going to hang with him and let him play drums on this song when we get up there. But this song is for him and for his family, and it means a lot to us, so I'm going to try not to mess it up. So this For you guys, this is called Bow Your Head.
I saw your photograph, a baby boy with fair afflictions. I saw your mother as she prayed beside your crib. I watched your father as he smiled and proudly gazed upon his son. Only wished he'd had a better life to give. Not a day goes by that I don't hang my head and cry. So shame on us as we wallow in our sorrow like there's no tomorrow. Bow your head beneath the wings of angels as they come to take your hurt away. Bow your head, and all the world will take your hand and pave a golden road for you. Take these words I say and put them snugly beneath your pillow, and set your eyes upon the crescent of the moon. Listen to the songs, the lullabies to soothe your restless nights, sung by ancient souls, the guardians of your fight. While your inspiration makes me such a better man, know, my child, that you will one day be free, free from all the pain that binds you. Bow your head beneath the wings of angels as they come to take your hurt away. Makes me such a better man. Know, my child, that you will one day be free, free from all the pain that binds you. Bow your head beneath the wings of angels as they come to take your hurt away. Bow your head, and all the world will take your hand and pave a golden road for you. Bow your head beneath the angels' wings as they come to take you home again, to make your body whole again. May you find your peace and smile forever.
in addition to the fans, we had our close family members and people close to the band that were able to fit. Look, we could have put another 100 people just in people we knew that wanted to be there if we'd had enough room. So it was very, very a touching night. It really was.
Yeah. So you feel that maybe listeners and fans, people that view this, and also the people that were there, are going to have maybe a little bit deeper connection to Lillian Axe now as a result of this project?
I think so. I think that what it will do is not only give, fans that exist already and people that may just kind of be being introduced to us for the first time, it's an entirely different dimension. And I think what it's going to do is going to give credence to the value of the songs more than the one-dimensional aspect of listening to it on the record, because we're doing ballads and very heavy songs acoustically, and the response has been that even the heavier stuff, it just comes across so well acoustically, which, that had a lot to do with us working these songs out and making judgments on which songs worked or not. So even though it's acoustic guitars, there's drums and bass, so you have the power and the actual audio niceness and roundness of the sound playing the song, so you get the true feel for what the song is really about. And I think people will realize that there's a lot more depth to what maybe the just outside first opinion is. Oh, here's a heavy rock band that's been around for a long time, done a bunch of records. You don't know anything about the band, but yeah, I'll give it a shot. And you start realizing, well, these guys can play. They're a good band. They got harmonies, and maybe I'm gonna go back and try to get acquainted, because we've always had the reputation of being. And if I had a nickel for every time I was called the most underrated, underappreciated band in the world, we wouldn't be underrated, underappreciated. It's just we've heard that so many years, and so I think this is another way for us to kind of, I guess, infiltrate the ignorance of the listening public, who just looks at what's thrown at their screen more than actually taking the time to look in and find things out there that they may not have heard of, but give it a shot and give it an opportunity. So it's a whole new kind of dimension for us, but it's still, we still maintain our validity and our the truth about what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I didn't know about you guys was the fact that you've been around for 3 decades.
Yeah. I know. It's going pretty fast, man. Yeah, first album came out in 1988. And when you start putting it in terms of years, it's kind of a mind-boggling. Like, really? It was that long ago? It didn't feel like that long ago. It feels like it was about 15 years ago or so, but 26? No kidding, man.
Yeah. So do you feel like at some point, do you feel like, we've just been doing this a long time, and I understand the music industry. I understand it's a rough monkey. It's not an easy place sometimes, and do you just feel like, well, maybe I'll do something else, maybe it's time to do something else, or do you think that the band's just going to you guys are just dedicated, just going to keep going and going?
We'll just keep going, because it's not in my nature to ever quit. And, I started playing guitar when I was 6, so I don't even know what it would be like, not having that in my life. And I keep adding new projects on all the time. I just started a new project with Guy Gelso, the drummer for Zebra, and 3 other guys from Louisiana that are well known around here, really great talents, and it's called Sledgehammer, and it's a tribute to 70s and 80s and a little bit of 90s arena rock. So we're out. I'm in a cover band after 30 years, and it's so much fun. We're playing King Crimson and Zeppelin and everything from Soundgarden to early Alice Cooper, and it's a blast, and it's going over like gangbusters. So I'm like, that's another way for me to just get out there and play. Lillian's getting ready to start working on our next record. I just started writing for that. I'm hosting a ghost hunting TV show that we just started filming. And any other musical endeavors out there, I'm doing, as a band. We don't do a lot of playing, but we put a record out called Circle of Light, which is the first 4 Lillian Axe members when we first started the band before we got signed. So I have these projects, and I've been offered to go play guitar for other nationals and stuff, and if the right situation came up and I could make it work, I would, because I'm a guitar player, songwriter first, and Lillian Axe is my priority, but creating music is such an important thing. I'm doing a project right now called Hit Me America, where I'm working with other Louisiana artists like Rockin' Doopsie and Vince Vance from Vince Vance and the Valiants, totally different types of music, but we're writing songs to raise money and do charities, and we're in the process of working on a potential TV show for that. It's like Chopped for songwriting. And so I'm not ever quitting, period. I mean, I will be doing this to the last day. And the thing that inspired me to really realize that is years ago I had maybe 200 students. So I was full-time teaching kids and 7-year-olds to 70-year-olds. And this one little boy came in, he brought his grandfather in with me. And his grandfather must have been in his 80s or whatever, and he was arthritic, and his joints, his knuckles were swollen, his fingers were crooked, and he sat there, and he sat and watched me play, and he said, "Man, nobody played like that when I was a kid," and this and that. And I said, "Well, I didn't know you played." And he said, "Yeah, I was a jazz blues player." I said, "Well, you want to play the guitar? Play this." So he picked the guitar up, and he started just fumbling through all these jazz and blues chords, and it was, I almost started crying. It was amazing to watch this man who truly at one time probably was very good, but just even though he was old and his fingers didn't want to go where they were, he was still good, and he was still playing, and you could still tell it was in his heart. And I realized at that point, you know what, I'd have to have no fingers on my hand to ever stop playing guitar, and even if I did, I'd find some orthotic fingers to stick on there, because it's just, once it's in you and in your heart and in your soul, you can't stop playing that. You know what I'm saying? And just that elderly man with his situation still playing, and I just learned a whole bunch of stuff from him, from sitting there for 15 minutes watching him, play with these old, poor, mangled fingers and all crooked and swollen, still playing these jazz chords, and just like watching him just light up, And so at that point I realized there is no end for me, It's part of my soul.
Yeah, that seems to be a common theme. It doesn't matter what genre of music you're in. A lot of people that I talk to, it's like it's so much a part of them. They're so passionate about it. There's such a love for the instrument and the music and that. I just spoke with Larry Carlton not that long ago, and we're talking, 50 years of
right
doing this. And with no intention of ever stopping, and so my hat's off to you there, because I noticed on your website that you seem to be in a lot of different projects and that, and
yeah, actually that's a joke. It's a running joke. Oh, what are you going to get into today,
Actually, I think that's kind of cool, especially going back and jumping in and doing the 70s, 80s or whatever arena rock cover band, because I think everybody loves the old 70s music and that, and it kind of takes the pressure off, doesn't it? It's like, I can go do this and I can have fun.
It is. Yeah, it is. You're exactly right. Like we have shows, and we're doing a run of shows in Texas this weekend for Lillian Axe, and it's like, as soon as the week before, here comes the pressure, got to make sure, the crew's set up, make sure, my stage manager's got everything advanced, and and the interviews are set up for the day, and the catering and the hotels, and coordinating with my manager and stage manager and production, and it's like, you know what, in Sledgehammer, I go there, set up my own rig, and then we just bust into some Blue Oyster Cult or something, and it is a whole, but it's fun, but you need that balance, you need the balance, because, it can't always be just, just nonchalant. I guess I work better when I'm under pressure, so, it works out.
Well, I think hats off to you once again for that.
Well, thank you.
No, serious, because, it's like, I've never been in, a position to where I've been a sideman for some people in the past, and and I've heard a little bit on my own, but nobody knows who I am. But when I make the mention that I'm gonna start a band and just do like that. I'm just gonna do some Blue Oyster Cult, or I'm gonna do some Judas Priest, or I'm gonna do something like that, and people go, "You're crazy.
Right.
What do you want to do that for?" It's fun. I miss it. I enjoy it. And it's like,
well, it is. Well, it gives you the opportunity also too, as a player, to give some homage and respect to great songs and other guitar players. And to be honest with you, look, man, I had to sit down and learn 40 cover songs that I quit playing covers. It's funny because every time I go out to see somebody, they bring me up on stage, and I'm like, what do you know? What do you know? And I'm like, here's bands that have 80 songs on their repertoire, and I'm like, Tush? I'm like, yeah, I've seen, I used to go out and see, and it's funny because like 3 different times I went out to see Warrant, because they were friends of mine, and every time it was like, I know Tush or Tie Your Mother Down. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back with this new project and really dive in. And so in the meantime, I'm learning all these different players and things, after doing your own for so many years, and I have my own technique developed, and this is who I am. But I go in and I start, learning like Alex Life's and things, and he's just this whole different mentality and how he approaches his solos, and then I'm doing, learning Buck Dharma, and then here's Vivian Campbell, and then here's, Michael Bruce and Glenn Buxton from Alice Cooper, and all these different players that all have their own unique things. And you realize, what? Where I am now in my Steve Blaze style of playing was all a culmination in learning from these guys back when I was a teenager, learning all their stuff. So it's cool to go back and learn, and you're learning something every day. Every time I learn a cover song, I don't care if it's You Really Got Me, I'm learning one little thing here, with one little nuance or one little pick scrape that's, oh yeah, man, I caught that, and you're developing your ear, and it's total growth, and it's fun because, even though I'm playing the solos like Page did and whatever, I'm still throwing in my own thing here and there, and the crowds eat that stuff up, man. They love it, and it's a fun project. It really is.
Well, cool. Well, once again, hats off.
Thanks.
I heard that you guys were correct me if I'm wrong, you're the first hard rock band to be inducted into is it the Music Hall of Fame for Louisiana? Yeah,
Louisiana Music Hall of Fame. Yep, we were inducted, I think, 2011, so it'll be 3 years ago. First rock band, and rightfully so. The only other rock band who actually had been around even before we have was Zebra, and they got inducted maybe about 6 months after that. So hats off to them. So yeah, it was a huge honor. It was one of those things that you go through the ups and downs of the music business over and over again, and it's just one of those things that you sit back and what? We're lucky, we're blessed, thank God, that we got this recognition, and they can't take that away from you, and it's just like, it's one of those validating moments where you feel like all the stuff you've been through, it kind of, all right, it was worth it, Yeah. It's just one of those moments, so we were very humbled by that.
Yeah. So what's in store for Lillian Axe? I know you said you got some shows in Texas coming up, but long term, what's in store?
Well, long term is we start writing on the next record. We've got these shows here. We're doing a festival in a couple of weeks in Florida. Then I got to have rotator cuff surgery on my arm, my right shoulder, as a result of the car wreck we had last year while we were on tour that put us out for about 8 months. Well, I have a tear. If I don't get it done now, it could get worse. I don't need the problem. So I have this surgery beginning of October, and we had to cancel some shows up in the New York area. And then we back out again mid-November. I'll probably be playing shows with a sling and my arm attached to my body, but I'm going to wing it, figure it out how to do it, and then in November back out again after about, I think it's going to take, my rehab could be anywhere from 2 to 4 months, but 5 weeks after the surgery we have a first show, so I'm going to make it happen. And we've got some shows in November and December for Lillian Axe and for Sledgehammer, and then in the beginning of the year we're going to be, we're balls to the wall on playing, trying to reschedule some of these dates that we've had to cancel. And just keep on. And then we're going to hopefully start recording the next record by next summer and get it out by the end of the year. We're also working on a live streaming concert for Lillian down in New Orleans, where we're going to stream it live and let people, for a nominal fee, pay to get in and stream a live concert that we do down in New Orleans. So people all over the world, they can pay $10, and we have a company that does the entire thing. They make sure all the internet connections and whatever, and then our production company down here, and we'll do a live show. It's the first time we've ever done anything like that, and people worldwide will have the opportunity to stream in and see the show.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think it is, because it's very difficult to tour for months and months at a time like we used to for any band whatsoever, due to the economics of it and just the state of the music industry, period. So if we can bring that to the doorstep of people and have them have that live experience, I think it would be great. People all over the world, countries that we have fans that will never get the opportunity to see us. I mean, we can't go to India or Iraq, and we have fans everywhere. So give them the opportunity to be a part of the live thing. So something messes up there, they're going to be right there live with it. They're going to see us sweating and right in all of our glory right there live. So that's one of those events that's in the process, but it is another one of those detail-oriented things that we've got to make sure is right. We're trying to do that by the end of the year. Depends on how my healing goes. So, and we're working on the new record, and we were going to probably put together a Christmas package. We put a box set out beginning of the year. It was only very small, 250 limited box sets, and we sold them out immediately. And so we're thinking about doing that again, and maybe coupling it with something else, make like a Christmas package. So we're always coming up with new ideas, trying to, take the next step. And, in the meantime, just staying true to what we do. Yeah.
Well, you ought to think about while you're doing your recording, your concert, your streaming and that, creating your own channel.
That's interesting.
Everywhere you go, well, I think of that because I actually own a film production company.
Oh, okay.
But if you create your own channel, and then wherever you go, stream your show and record it, then people can always go to your channel, and you can start to incorporate little behind the scene things from the studio,
right?
And here's a little guitar lesson from Steve Blaze, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you know what? I like that idea. That's something that we have never really even brought up in conversation. Well, I appreciate that idea. I'm going to bring that up at our next meeting for sure.
Okay. So, I tell you what, it's been a great conversation, and I was going to ask you what the temple was, but you sure answered that right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's the studio. It's a Masonic temple, and the kind of, I guess, a little bit of kind of a bittersweet touch to it is that the studio, not long after we recorded this thing, a few months after, parted ways with the Masons. So the studio is no longer there. So that was like the last event, so to speak, that musically taking place in there. So the studio moved somewhere else, and the Masons are still having their meetings now in the building. So, we spent, my goodness, Lillian Axe did 3 records there. I have produced and brought in, at least 8 to 10 acts, and done 3 other full albums that I produced in that place, and it seemed like I lived there. I was always in there doing either projects, my projects, somebody else's, bringing in people and doing guest guitar playing and whatnot, and now they're gone. So that's life goes on, brother. But it's I think people if they are at least a fan or wanting to become a fan, this is a really great project. I mean, it's 2 live CDs, and the CDs, and let me tell you something, we spent a lot of time on the mixes, because I don't like live albums the way usually they sound. Nobody can ever really capture them. This thing sounds so good. The engineer Rob Hovey did a fantastic mix on the CDs, and the DVD is really cool. It's very entertaining. It's funny, and it shows the real human side of the band and the people that work with us and our fans at the same time.
Tune in every Tuesday night to The Jimmy Warren Show as Jimmy talks with some of the biggest names in music, from George Thorogood and Toto to Judas Priest and Charlie Daniels. That's The Jimmy Warren Show, Tuesday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern Time and 8 p.m. Pacific Time at www.jimmywarrenshow.com.
Okay, guys, we have a special thing here going on right now. I want to introduce to you guys Annie Bridges. Give us a sec while we get her hooked up here. I'll talk about this song. Anyway, this song is called The Day I Met You. And it should be the standard wedding song across the globe, actually. A lot of people have gotten married to this song. I wrote this song in about 10 minutes. I was watching a movie called For the Boys, and I was inspired by the song In My Life by the Beatles, and it was very simple. It was in the movie. It was a very simple, straight-ahead song, and I wanted to write a song that was just one guitar and one vocal, straight from the heart. Anybody can relate to this thing. And then when we were putting this together, I said, wouldn't it be great if we could get a violin to come in and accompany on this song? And we just happened to know Mr. David Heinz, that owns the studio, knew Miss Annie Bridges. And so she was gracious enough to come. We only did that like 2 or 3 times. The first time she came to my house, we ran through it like one time. That's great. We're done. So, I mean, it was really good. So hope you guys enjoy this. And this is called The Day I Met You. I need some inspiration. I'm feeling it. Okay, thank you.
Complete long cold Decembers, so bittersweet. But if I could set aside one day that I could hold forever, I would save the day that I met you. Is it still magic? Although we've grown worlds apart, it seems so tragic, so frail the heart. But if I was blessed with just one wish to take me through my lonely life, I'd wish to go back to the day that I met you. And when you feel you're own, well, just believe you're not alone. And you'll feel the warmth that we shared years ago. Don't be blue. One painful morning, I stared straight into the sun. It overwhelmed me. I came undone. So if you can find it in your heart to be forgiving to a broken man, we'll go back to the day that I met you. What if I was blessed with just one wish to take me through my lonely life? I'd wish to go back to the day that I met you.
You guys give it up for Eddie Bridges.
All right, we want to thank my guest Steve Blaze from Lillian Axe being on the Jimmy Warren Show tonight. We've been listening to their project. It's called One Night in the Temple. It's a great experience. You know, it's a 2 CD, 1 DVD package, and it was a night that was put together for their fans. And it's definitely something that you want to get a hold of. It's a really good project. So thanks to Steve and Lillian Axe for being on the show and that. Next week, next Tuesday night, I have Tom Kiefer, the former front from Cinderella, is going to be with us. It's been a while since Tom has put out a project. Man, he's got a killer one now. He is rocking. The band is great. Single off there, Solid Ground, smoking tune, man. And I think people are really going to enjoy this. It's been a long time, like I said, since he's put out anything due to the issue that he had with his vocal cords, but he seems to be doing great. He's strong, and once you hear this project, if you haven't already, man, you're going to be sold. And then also the last Tuesday of the month in October, Paul Gilbert's going to be here. Man, you want to talk about an interesting guy. Paul Gilbert, the guitarist from Racer X and Mr. Big. Now, there's not too many guys that can play guitar like Paul. Paul is beyond amazing in so many ways, but he's a very interesting guy to talk to as well. So I think you're really going to enjoy that. And his new project, it's also very unique. I mean, Paul decided to do a CD of songs that he enjoys, that have influenced him and that he's always liked. And so there's songs on here. It's all instrumental, but there's songs on there from Elton John. There's songs on there from Loverboy. I mean, it's really all over the map. So it's rather interesting. And so I think you're really going to enjoy it. So he'll be joining us at the end of the month. And then as we move into November, well, things get crazy. They really do. From Marigold, I have Megan Krause is going to be here. Now, Greg Howe is also a part of that band, and Greg's going to be with us in December. We got Duke Robillard is going to be a part of the band. He's going to be a part of the show next month as well. There's a huge lineup. Just go to jimmywarrenshow.com and you can find out more who's going to be a part. And that, always remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Feel free to contact me through the website. Let me know how you're thinking of the show. Let me know if there's somebody special you'd like to see us have on the show. And always remember that now you can join me on Twitter during the show as we go back and forth and talk about what's going on with the artist that's on the show. And so we're going to do another partial track from Lillian Axe as we get out of here for tonight. But I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And once again, thanks to Steve Blaze from Lillian Axe for being on the show. And I will see you next week.
We're going to bring Johnny Vines back up on here. We're going to do something a little special for you. Come on, Johnny Vines. This is the first ballad that we ever did on the first record. You may know this one. It's called Nobody Knows.
Nobody knows when there's clouds in the skies, when there are tears in your eyes. Nobody knows when you're hurting so bad. So what if they're far away, where the hills turn to flames? I sit and I wonder where you are. I dream at night of the memories that we share. I feel your touch, I see your stare. Nobody knows when you're down and out. Nobody cares what it's all about. When it comes to you, babe, you know I'll always be there. Just sing. Nobody knows when you're down and out. Silent words, a whispered song. Will you still love me when I am gone? Now nobody knows what really matters. Only fools who don't belong. Nobody knows when you're down and out. Nobody cares what it's all about. In my dreams, it never seems that nobody knows. Nobody knows when you're down and out. Nobody cares what it's all about. When it comes to you, babe, you know I'll always be there. Just sing. Nobody knows when you're down and out. Down and out.
Thanks, y'all, very much.
Johnny Vines, Brian Jones on the vocals. Nice, nice.
Great job, Johnny.
Tune in every Tuesday night to The Jimmy Warren Show as Jimmy talks with some of the biggest names in music, from George Thorogood and Toto to Judas Priest and Charlie Daniels. That's The Jimmy Warren Show, Tuesday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern Time and 8 p.m. Pacific Time at www.jimmywarrenshow.com.